Okay, good evening everyone. Let me just adjust this camera a little bit. There we go. And welcome to a Nabila Live with a Difference. I thought I would come on and share my story. Everyone in life, doesn't matter who you are, has a story to tell. Everyone. Whether you are a celebrity, whether you're just a normal person, whether you're unique, whether you're special, every single person has a story to tell. And some stories are horrific, some stories are absolutely amazing, and I thought, you know what, I was going through a lot of things in my life, especially Samhain, Halloween is a time where we reflect on our own lives, we reflect on people that we have lost and loved, who have passed over, etc. And we also reflect on the people around us. Life is too short. Life is truly, truly too short. And it wasn't until recently that I was in a situation, let's just say, as I always usually find myself in a situation where you put your trust in a lot of people, and you genuinely think that everybody that comes into your life because they want to be with you, they want to be a part of your life, they see something beautiful in you or whatever else. And don't get me wrong, most times that can happen, right? People come into our lives and they stay in our lives for absolutely ever. They inspire us, they build us up, etc. But there are the odd few that do the reverse, that come in the name of friendship, and rather than build you up, they try and break you down. And I've had that pretty much all my life. A lot of people have commented on my lives and saying how confident I am, how beautiful that I look, or how good my hair is, how good my skin is, etc., etc. But not everyone has heard or knows my story. Not everyone. And I wish I could say my story was that beautiful fairy tale that everybody loves, that that we come into the world and we have lots of friends and we have a huge confidence, and that we are always happy with ourselves and with our lives. Sadly, that's not the case for everyone. And I'm gonna just start my story from the beginning, because all stories have a beginning, they have a middle, and they have an end, right? And it's so important to make sure you get that beginning, the middle, and the end. So here we go. Here's my story. Why do I feel that I need to even share my story? Because people judge us. on the word of others. People judge us without even knowing who we really are on the word of others. People are so quick to judge because somebody told them to. And they have no idea what their actions can cause to somebody's life. And the title of my story is Love Yourself Fiercely and Unconditionally. That phrase I first heard from a wonderful, wonderful, inspiring lady called Tracy Lynn Fowles. Tracy has been in my life as a friend, mentor, and a wonderful team leader. Not just in Avira, but in ActiLabs, which was the business that I was in before I started Avira. And this woman is amazing. I don't think she realizes how amazing that she is and the impact that she has on people like myself. So let's go back to the beginning. I was born in Germany. My parents were both in the RAF. I have an older brother who has learning difficulties. He was born with a scar on his brain, and I have a younger sister. When I was born, my mom was given the news that she had given birth to a blind baby girl. That devastated my mom. My mom blamed herself for many years because when she was younger she had rubella. And she blamed the rubella for both my disability and my brother's disability. And then 9 years after I was born, my baby sister was born. And I was obviously going up for 10 back then. But when I was 5, I got some sight back. But for me personally, I always had sight. Even though my mum told me that I was blind, I always felt I had sight, even though I'd never saw my mum's face. But I saw so many other faces. Little did I know the faces that I saw were spirit. I may not have had the physical sight, but I had the spiritual sight, using the third eye. We're all born with that natural third eye vision or sight, but we lose it as we get older, or some of us lose it as we get older. But you know, a lot of people have asked me throughout my life, what was your memories of being blind? I don't have any, because in my own mind, in my own memories, I was never blind. Even though I couldn't see my mother's face, I saw so many faces. So many faces from spirit. And so many guides have guided me on my life, on my life journey. So when I was 5 and I was able to see things, I can't tell you, I was so young, I can't pinpoint when it was that I actually started seeing, because for me, my memories merged into, you know, my visions just merged into one. I just assumed it was, you know, a follow-on from what I could already see. The only difference is I could see my mum and dad's face, my brother. So when I was 5, although my vision wasn't great, it got me by. I went, we moved to Preston after living in Germany and Cyprus and Malta, with travelling with the forces. And my dad got his own business as a long distance lorry driver. So he was away quite a lot of the time. And it was just me, my mum, and my brother, and my sister a lot of the time. And I always felt that my sister got all the attention, as young ones do. But I always felt with my mum at that time that I was different. It's kind of like she made us feel like we were different, both me and my brother. Because my sister was born in, I guess in my mum's eyes, the perfect person, the perfect child. She had 5 fingers, 5 toes, 10 fingers, 10 toes, whatever. She could see, she could hear, she had no learning difficulties, etc. So there was, in my opinion, always a split between us. And to make matters worse, I went to a visually impaired school when I was younger, just because my mum knew I couldn't cope in a mainstream school. And there wasn't the resources for teachers to give me that extra help that I needed, i.e. I wouldn't have been able to see the blackboard or whatever without having to sit pretty much close up to the blackboard. So I was sent to a visually impaired school. And then my parents decided they were going to move back up to Scotland. Now, the school that I attended at that time was a day school, but it was also a residential school, because there were children who didn't live near there that stayed Monday to Friday at the school, and then had weekends at home. And I got all excited because we were moving to Scotland. And my mum said, we'll have to stay with my gran for a little while till we got a place. And she didn't want to overburden my gran with 3 kids. So she said, let's just keep Kath, or keep me, in the school that she's at. Let's not disrupt her. Let's just keep her at the school that she's at until we get settled, and then we'll come back for her. So I was, asked to pack all my little, my mum packed my bags and everything, and I moved into the school and was put into a dormitory with other girls. We had a dormitory mistress who was less than kind. And all I could remember at that time was my brother and my sister were in Scotland, and I was left in England in a school full of strangers. And I had that feeling of rejection. Why me? Why did they leave me behind? Why did they take my entire family to Scotland, and I was left behind? And it was only for 2 months, but that 2 months, when you are 7, 8 year old, that's a lifetime. And for a long time, I couldn't forgive my mum. I know it tore my dad's heartstrings leaving me behind. He just did not want to leave me behind. But my mum wore the trousers back then, and she convinced him it was the right thing to do at that time. my happiest day was when my dad travelled down and picked me up when they had settled and got a home, got a house in Scotland. And I was reunited with my family. I was placed in another visually impaired school, and I met a special friend there. Making friends was so difficult for me because not only was I born with very little sight or no sight, I had unusual eyes, and I still do. And when you are different from everybody else, children more than anyone can be so cruel, right? So I got all the names that you could imagine. You know, I got cat's eyes, I got lady with the strange eyes, etc., etc. I also, suffered a lot of bullying throughout school. When I went up to high school, my mum wanted me to have as normal a life, if you can call it normal, as possible. So rather than put me into a special needs school, oh, thank you. So rather than put me into a special needs school, they decided to try me in mainstream high school. And they spoke to the teachers, and the first thing the teachers did was put me in front of the class, close to the blackboard, so that I could see the blackboard. But even then, I struggled to see the blackboard. So 9 out of 10 times I was always asking, please, can you tell me what that says on the blackboard? Or can you at least write it down for me so that I can copy it, or whatever. That led to more bullying. I went from top grades that I was reaching in the visually impaired schools to no grades at all. I would often sit alone in the playground while people walked by and stared and mocked and whatever. And one day my dad took me aside and said, "What's happening? You know, your grades have gone to ground zero." My dad was my best friend. He was the only one that took the time to understand me, where I was coming from. When I was talking to Spirit, my mum would say, "Don't talk to Spirit when we've got visitors in. They might just think that you're crazy, and we don't want them thinking I've got a crazy daughter." That was my mum's outlook on it. My dad, on the other hand, was, "How do you know that she can't see these people just because you can't see them? How do you know that?" He believed in me 1000%, absolutely 1000%. He was quite free-spirited. He did his own thing. He'd spent time in the forces when he was younger, and came out of the forces, built his own furniture business until he moved up to Scotland, and then he got a job up here. He could not cope with being told what to do by bosses. That wasn't him. He was very much free-spirited. And so he used his skills as a RAF mechanic and built up his own mechanics business. Started off with a small garage, and then he bought a bigger garage. And it was his dream to build his business, be his own boss, and build a future for him, my mom, and his grandchildren and children to come. Every day, weekends included, he worked. and he had a heart of gold. He was there for all his family, all his friends, etc. He was my sounding board. If I was upset, my dad was my go-to. He was more than a dad. He was a best friend, absolute best friend. And one day we got the devastating news that my dad had developed cancer. For years he had a small lump on his neck and never did anything about it. He was not a believer in doctors or modern medicines. He hated it with a vengeance. Hence, I do not like pharmaceuticals, anything with chemicals. So he put off going to the doctors until my mum asked him to go to the doctors. And he did. And they discovered it was cancer. My dad battled with cancer, went for his chemo and radium. He got 6-month remission. And we were celebrating that he was going to survive this. He had kicked cancer's ass, big time. That was huge for all of us, especially me. You know, because when you feel you're going to lose your best friend, your inspiration, somebody that believes 100% in everything that you do, it just brings home how precious life is. And it brings home, that we shouldn't waste our time worrying about what other people think. Every time I was bullied in school or in high school, or I went through abuse with my ex, my dad always reminded me, it's not you. It never was. The issue or the problem was never you. It was them. And if they can't see how darn special you are, they don't deserve to be in your life at all. And that always stuck with me. And he always said, you can do and you can be whoever you want to be. Whoever you want to be. He had dreams of retiring and owning his own pub and hotel. And we celebrated that. The fact that he could, there was hope now that he could run his own hotel and retire and leave a nest egg for his family, who he absolutely loved and adored. Sadly, the cancer came back with a vengeance. And despite all his efforts, he was a fighter. My dad never gave up. He never gave in. He fought to the bitter end. But he lost his life in 2 days before Christmas in 1994. And I was there by his side, along with my mum, throughout all of his treatment. Sadly, when I was going to visit him, we were all called to the hospital, and my ex at the time drove us through to the hospital, but took his sweet time about it. And my dad passed away 10 minutes before I got to the hospital. But I spent time saying my goodbyes to my best friend and my inspiration. And his lessons stayed with me for a lifetime. And my mom, when my dad passed away, became my best friend. She realized that she had treated me wrong a lot of the time, and she had misunderstood me. And I built up a better relationship with her. And where my dad left off, she picked up. And I think it was because my own father had spoke to her and said, you need to look after this girl. She's not the person that you think she is. She's unique, she's special, she's wonderful. And that stayed with me for life. And then sadly, I wanted to, I got married at 18. Sorry, I met my ex at 18. He said all the nice things. Said how pretty I was, he did, and said everything that you could possibly say to somebody. And I believed every single word. And it wasn't until my actual wedding day. And I'll never forget my dad saying to me on my wedding day, it's never too late to turn away from this. You don't have to go through with it. He knew. He always did knew that my ex was an abuser. And it must have been heartbreaking for him walking me down that aisle. And I remember my dad's face when my ex was doing our wedding speech. And he was giving his speech. And he was thanking the bridesmaids. He was thanking my mum and dad. He was thanking the best man. He was thanking everybody for attending the wedding. And my dad stood up and said, what about your wife? And his words stabbed like a knife on my wedding day, and it stayed with me for life. And he said, what about her? And I looked at my dad's face, and the hurt in his face said it all. I never forgave him for spoiling what was supposed to be the best day of my life, right? And even on our wedding day, he disappeared and had an affair with other women. Those other women were young schoolgirls. And my dad knew this, because my dad was a hard worker, and he was always going to the pub at the end of his shifts for a pint. And it was during one of his pub visits that he saw my ex in the pub with a young girl who must have been about 14 years old. And I remember when he did tell me many years later, and I said, why didn't you tell me? He said, how could I tell my daughter that she had married somebody like that? So losing my dad was losing my protection. And I spent 30 years in an abusive marriage. I wasn't able to wear makeup. I wasn't able to do my readings. I wasn't able to visit my family. If we were invited to family weddings, he always made an excuse not to go. So most of my 30 years marriage, I hadn't seen my cousins, my aunties, my uncles, whatever, because he always put off going to see my family. I was isolated. And it was deliberate isolation. And then at the age of 13, he abused my daughter while I was working as a carer. I never knew anything about it until my daughter was 15, 16 and started to run away. She ran away from home so many times. And I couldn't understand why. until one day we got the call from social services saying that they had put my daughter in care because her dad had abused her. The hurt, the anger that you feel as a mum, knowing that the man you married abused your only, your daughter. And I also had an autistic son that I was looking after as well. I never forgave him for that. And he was taken to a panel for it, but because his family made him out to be this wonderful man who had a good job and who was a loving father, a loving wife, couldn't possibly do anything so ridiculous. And it was non-proven. So he got away with it. And you would think that your child would be more towards you for protection. He had done a good job grooming my daughter. My daughter is now a child abuser, and I don't have any contact with her. And that was the hardest thing that a mum can ever do, is to turn her back on her own daughter. But how could I support somebody that was abusing my grandchildren? How could I, in all honesty, support that? I couldn't. When I met my current partner, through a friend, I just felt so comfortable with him. I felt like he was a soulmate that I had always looked for. Oh, thank you, beautiful. And he said to me, I have a heart, I have a home, and it's all yours. You just need to tell me. And that was it. I remember packing my bags. I told my ex I was leaving him. I have said that so many times in the 30 years marriage. One time he picked me up from work and I told him I was leaving him. This was before I met my current partner. Now, I had my autistic son at home. He was 16 and he was able to look after himself till I got home from work. And my ex put his foot on the accelerator on a busy dual carriageway. And I watched the speedometer going up and up, and I was screaming for him to stop. I said, we have a son. And he said, if you're leaving me, we're leaving together. He had no remorse for my son who was left in the house by himself. He had no respect for my life or whatever. And I was terrified, screaming for him to stop the car, to let me out. He kept going. And out of nowhere, on this dark night, there was a crow that flew in front of the windscreen and hit the windscreen to the point it startled my ex, and he put the foot on the brake. And I got out the car on a busy dual carriageway, the side of the motorway, refusing to get back in. He talked me out of it. He had apologised and said, don't leave me, blah, 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 and we got home safely. Thank God for the poor crow who hit that windscreen that night. Crows have always been my guardian birds. Whenever there's trouble, I see a crow. And that night was no exception. Was it meant? Yes. I believe the crow was sent at that precise moment. But 7 years ago, I told him once more for the final time I was leaving him. The night before I left him, he dropped my coffee and almost took my life. I survived. And I remember waking up the next morning in a daze and just grabbing a bag full of stuff and walking out. And you know, I left all my stuff at my partner's house at the time, because I was working that day. And in all hindsight, I should have called off my work, and I should have spoke to my current partner about what I'd gone through. But I wanted to put it behind me. I couldn't spoil our first night together, or our first day together, by telling him. How could I tell him? So I went to my work and I did my shift. And my partner picked me up from work and welcomed me home to my new life. And the next day, he just knew something was wrong, and he asked me, and I told him everything. And you know, he begged me to go to the police, but what would be the point? Who would believe somebody like me, right? Who would absolutely believe somebody like me? A few years later, when my ex decided, because my son decided to stay with his dad, which again was heartbreaking, that I was not only lost my daughter, but I was losing my son as well. Although I still went to visit him, or he came to visit me. And one day he phoned the police and said I had kidnapped our own son. Now my son was in his 20s at that time. And I thought, how could I kidnap my own son when he knew I was picking him up that day? He had arranged to pick up that day. And I was so angry. And I remember when the police were questioning me, and I just blurted out, that was rich coming from a man that, you know, sexually attacked me and almost took my life. And they said, we can't ignore that you've just said that. And even though it was only a couple of years ago, you can still get him charged. And my partner said, do it. So I was questioned. My partner's, you know, my ex's phone was taken off him, you know, and obviously my ex was very clever, never kept any data on his phone about his abuse. That was all kept hush hush. And he got away with it. And I lost all faith in authorities. And I remember when I moved out of our marital home and moved in with my partner, all I had was a carrier bag with a couple of tops, a few bits of underwear. That was it. I grabbed what I could. And it was fight or flight, and I flew. And you would think, leaving an abusive marriage, you would be deemed a hero, right? Mm-mm. Oh, my ex did a good number on telling everyone how I cheated on him, how I, you know, left such a good, honest, hard-working man behind. And people believed him. Not one person questioned me. Not one person asked me. And that's pretty much been the story of my life. You know, abusers will go, you know, and your enemies will go to any extreme to make you the bad one, to make you the victim. So, in short, my life was full of bullying, betrayal, judgment from people who didn't even know the real me. The only person that knew the real me was my current partner. Had it not been for that wonderful man that I'm with today, I probably wouldn't be here telling my story. And I decided that I was going to speak up for every woman, every child, and every mum that had gone through abuse. That I was going to make a difference. Even though my self-esteem was at rock bottom, even as an adult, I had people judging me for my looks, judging me because my eyes were different, judging me because I was different from them. I saw the world differently. I couldn't wear makeup. It had chemicals in it. I couldn't buy skincare over the counter because it had chemicals in it, and it just irritated my life, my face, my whole body. So it was the most purest of soaps that I could buy for my own skincare. And then I joined a company called all.have, and some of their products I could use, some of the products I couldn't. And I started going online with the products, doing my lives, etc. And I needed help from the CEO in the company. And I remember writing to him and asking for his help with a customer. In fact, it was one of my teamies that I promoted. She never got her pay or whatever it was, her commission. And rather than being supportive, his reply was quite simply, well, it's your fault. You should have trained better. You should have learned the business better. You should have told her this, that, and the next thing. And I couldn't believe it. And he was just like saying, and he said, well, if you feel badly about it, you pay her the commission. This was from the CEO of that company. And I was just, wow. It resulted in me losing my team member. And every time I asked for help in that company, I remember there was only 2 people in that company at the time that bothered to listen, that took the time to listen. One was my Avira upline now, Tracy Lynn Fowles, and the other was Olga Naden. And when they left, I had nobody in this company. I had no support. My upline had left. I was in an uncaring environment where it was dog eat dog. And they changed the products, and a lot of the products that I liked I could no longer use. So my confidence dropped again. And then one day I sat and watched Tracy doing a live on Avira, and she looked amazing, absolutely amazing. And I will never forget her lives, because she always ended her lives with love yourself fiercely, unconditionally, unapologetically. Those words have stuck with me. And I knew that I needed to speak to Tracy. I needed to find out, what is this Avira? You know, her hair, her skin, everything about her was looking amazing. And we got chatting. Now, I could have joined as a customer and tried the products, but I put my whole faith in this wonderful woman, and I joined her team, and I'm still on her team today. And let me tell you, she was right, because each day when I was having my doubts that I couldn't go on, you know, I wasn't getting the sales, I was posting every day, I was doing my Avira makeup, even my so-called closest friends weren't buying anything from me, and I was gonna give up. But you know what? Tracy Lynn Fouts wasn't having a bar of it. And I remember, you know, getting my very first set of I Am Avira lashes. I earned those free lashes. And I remember taking the box set of lashes and I thought, I can't see a darn thing. How the hell am I supposed to wear lashes? I've never worn lashes in my life. I'm not a makeup artist, but I do love playing around with makeup. What I didn't know, I YouTubed it. I went onto YouTube and learned how to do cut creases, learned how to disguise, you know, droopy eye, etc., etc. You know, and I learned a lot about natural skincare and the difference between using skincare and makeup that were chemical free than using the other ones. And I changed my skin for the better. Suddenly I could wear makeup, but I was stuck with these lashes, and I'm like, I don't want, these lashes are beautiful, I don't want to throw them away. You know, and Tracy had said, what about a magnified mirror? So I purchased a 20 times magnified mirror, and I sat and put the liner on. Let me tell you, the first time I put liner on, oh my goodness, I'm glad they didn't do it on a live, let's just say that, because it was nowhere near straight. You know, my hand was shaking or whatever else. And I remember saying to Tracy, I can't do this. I can't wear the lashes. You know, I can put mascara on like a pro because I have very sensitive lashes, and I could feel without even looking in the mirror where the lashes started and where they ended. So I could put on a mascara without even looking in the mirror, which is a skill in itself, let me tell you. But yet I failed to be able to put this liner on and to be able to put the lashes on. But Tracy never gave up, and she said, practice makes perfect, just keep practicing. And you know, my dad always taught me never to give up on your dreams, never to tell yourself you can't, even if other people tell you you can't. I still have people in my life today who come as friends only to destroy because of my ex's family. But here's the thing, when you've been bitten more than once with fake friends, you see right through them. One of the many gifts that I have as a spiritual reader and a healer is that I can read people. Even the ones that come as friends but are really enemies, I can read them. And I'll play along with their pathetic games just long enough for them to show their true colours. Then I wish them well and I move on. Because in pulling out other people's colours, you hope that someday they'll learn their lessons, never to deceive somebody. I carried on practicing with my lashes, and now I can put lashes on like a pro. And you know, I've had people commenting all my life about how awful my eyes are or whatever. But here's the thing, when I put lashes on, I don't see them. I don't see, you know, and nobody else sees my eyes. They just see somebody so-called normal. So those lashes, to me, are more than lashes. They built my confidence. When I put my lashes on, I'm not that person with the strange eyes. I'm not that person with cat's eyes. I'm not that person, you know, that people make a fool of or whatever else. But here's the thing. If I've got one message for all of my enemies watching this video, is, or for all the supporters of abusers out there who chose to believe my ex's family over my own story, I hope that the lesson, if I can reach just one of those people and say, don't be quick to judge other people on somebody else's say-so. Get time, you know, take time to get to know that person. Get to know the person for who they truly are. I've had people come into my life and say, oh, don't talk to her or don't talk to them because they have a disability, you know, or she ratted on a man saying he was this, that and the next thing, and he's not, he's a really nice man. Not once did I believe that person. But here's what I did. I got to know the person that they were talking about. And I found out the true person. And I found out that actually the person that was trying to tell me about the person was taking somebody else's word rather than actually getting to know the person. So if I can give somebody a little bit of advice in telling my story, is don't judge me without getting to know me. You know, I love my Avera team. Tracy has believed in me from day one. My other best friend Wendy Janine, who is also on Tracy's team and is part of the Avera family, has believed in me from day one. My friend Stacey Hibbard has been with me and she's now part of my Avera team from day one. My wonderful soulmate has supported me in everything that I wanted to do from day one. They're the people that count. Why? Because here's the thing. They got to know me. Here's the thing. They didn't listen to Chinese whispers or what other people's thoughts about me were. They got to know me. They got to know, you know, here I am. Yes, I have emotional scars that will probably be with me for the rest of my life. Yes, I've been through hell and back. I have been used, abused, and whatever else. But here's the thing. I'm a survivor. I survived all that. And this is the lashes I'm wearing today. I am a survivor. I don't see myself ever as a victim. I see myself as a survivor. And the horrors that I have gone through in life will sustain me and enable me to build up other women who have gone through abuse. My grandchildren are still going through abuse. I've been banned so far from seeing them, but I'm still fighting for them. Every step of the way, I'm still fighting for them through lawyers. And I am determined, absolutely determined, to win my battle to see my grandchildren and to protect them from abuse, because that's who I am. Never ever allow anyone to take away your self-esteem. Never ever allow anyone to bring you down. And if somebody comes into your life and brings you down, remove them. Wish them well in their life. Never wish anybody ill, because it comes back and bites you in the arse, let me tell you. But if you have somebody that brings you or your family down, that causes upset, that tries to split. We have had so many of my ex's family and friends try and split myself and my partner up. They failed every single time, because that man loves me unconditionally. That man puts me first above all things. And here's the thing, Tracy never gave up on me. If I'm stuck, or if I'm having doubts, or I'm having those wobble days, I'm only human, I do have my wobble days, and some days I do think I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to give up. I don't. I keep going, because I've got true friends who believe in me. And in the words of Tracy Lynn Fowles, I learned to love myself unconditionally, unapologetically. And it matters not whether people want to buy from my Avera shop. It matters not. It matters not if nobody wants to support my Mystic Witch business. That's, you know, that's neither here or there. I've always said, as long as I have one customer, I will keep going. And I do have customers. And I'll keep going. Because Tracy made a difference to my life. She taught me never to give in, never to give up on who I am. My mum was told when I was younger, before I got married, by doctors, try and persuade your daughter never to be a mum, because she may give birth to somebody who's blind, and you don't want that for your daughter, do you? And my mum always said, even when I got married the first time, don't have kids. You can still adopt kids if you want. You can adopt them, you can foster them, don't have your own. I'm the type of person that if somebody tells me don't do, I'll do the opposite. You know, I had dreams of being a mom. And so when I fell pregnant, my mum was horrified and said, what if it turns out deaf? What if it turns out blind? What if it turns out with no hands, no arms, no legs, whatever? What if? And I said, well, if that what if happens, it's still my child. You know, you brought up a blind girl, and look at me now. If you can do it, I can do it. And I gave birth to my daughter, and at that time she was perfect in every way. And then I gave birth to my son, and at the age of 7 we found out he was autistic. But I still love that young man with all my heart. And he is unique and he is special in every single way. And I've always told him, despite his disabilities, where there's a will, there's a way. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing, that he can dream of that he can't achieve. You see, no matter what your disability, it's not a disablement, it's a gift. Because even, how many women out there can put mascara on without even looking in the mirror? How many women or people out there can have acute hearing where they can hear a pin drop from a mile down the road? Because what we lose in one sense, we gain in another. I may not have physical sight. I had an eye operation that took away a lot of my sight that I did get back. I'm now registered blind. Did I let that stop me? No. No. I just bought bigger tablets to go live with. I bought magnifying mirrors that I can see to put my makeup on. Whenever I hit a rock, whenever I hit something that I couldn't do, I found a solution. I found a way. And I did it. And I know if my mum and dad were still alive today, they would be so proud of me. And, one thing my dad said was, you're not different. You're just special. And it's good to be different. Do you really want to be like everybody else out there? No, you don't. Love who you are, because the good Lord made you that way. And He's right. And you know what? If I hadn't gone through the abuse, if I hadn't gone through the bullying, if I hadn't realised that I can't use chemicals on my skin or my hair or my nails, I would never have stumbled across Avira. I would never have met wonderful friends like Tracy Pouts, Wendy Janine, my wonderful partner, Stacey Hibbard, Jen, and Lucy, and so many other friends. I would never have came across them in my life. As for the fake friends that have come and gone, well, you know who you are. We all learn from our mistakes in life. I'm a survivor because I never gave up. I never gave up hope of finding my soulmate, and I found him. I never gave up believing that I could be just like every other woman. I would be able to put makeup on and to wear lashes. And when I put my makeup on and I look in the mirror, I don't hate the image looking back at me like I used to. What I see is one hell of a strong woman who survived a heck of a lot and who is still standing today to tell the tale. And I want to thank Tracy Pouts and Wendy Janine, Stacey Hibbard, and all the many close friends that have been honest and truthful and got to know me as a person and got to know and love my partner, because he is one amazing man, and yet he was judged for splitting up a happy home. He didn't. He saved me from abuse. He didn't save me from a happy home or a happy marriage. He saved me from a life of hell. And he didn't deserve the abuse he got when I left my ex. And I love him dearly for that. And I always will. So if my story can inspire others out there who've been through abuse, who have disabilities, who doubt themselves, who have been made to feel worthless, different, unwanted, and nobody, I'm here to tell you, nobody is a nobody. You are somebody. You are unique. There's only one you. There's only one me. There's only one Tracy. And we shouldn't be tearing each other down. We should be lifting each other up and empowering and healing each other. That's what I do every single day, through my readings, through my healing, through my Avira. You know, my mum taught me something special. When she was going through cancer, my mum was the most beautiful woman on this planet. Yes, I'm biased, she was my mum, but she was a very beautiful woman in her time. And she took pride in her hair and her makeup and all of that. And when she was going through her cancer and she was on her last few months of life, she was looking at her nails. Those beautiful, once strong nails were brittle, ragged at the ends. They no longer had nail polish on them. She didn't have the strength to do that. And I remember going to the salon where me and my mum used to go on a regular basis to get our hair, nails, etc. done. And I asked them, do you do homers? And my heart dropped when she said no. And she says, what is it you're looking for? And I said, I need my mum's nails done. I want to get my mum's nails done. And they said, bring her in. And I said, I can't. She's dying of cancer. Now they knew my mum well because she was a good customer. The manageress shouted one of the nail techs and said, what are you doing tonight? And she said, nothing. She said, can you go and do this lady's mum's nails? And she did. I paid for the treatment. I paid for her nails. I told my stepdad not to tell my mum, but there was a nail technician coming to do her nails. And I went down to see my mum that night, and there was tears in her eyes as she showed me her beautiful hands, her feeble hands that were manicured to the tilt. They were beautifully painted. And all she said was, thank you. I've got my nails back. And you know, we've recently just done the October cancer awareness. And every day I wore pink makeup, whatever. The I Am a Survivor lashes, pink, for cancer. Because when you lose people that are special in your life to cancer, you support it. And I remember how just something as simple as putting nail varnish on, having a manicure, that simple act of somebody coming, taking the time out of their busy day to actually do a homework for my mum and make her nails look beautiful again. The smile on my mum's face is embedded in my memory for life. When women are going, or men are going through cancer, it's companies like Avira that can make or break people going through cancer. That little bit of makeup, that little bit of nail polish can make all of the difference. Just as lashes can make me feel better about being different with my eyes. I look in the mirror when I've got my lashes and I don't see a disability. I see a woman who has survived hell and back and is still standing to tell the tale. We've just launched a new lash and I will be purchasing that lash. And the lash set is I Am Thankful. And every day this month I'm going to be thinking of something that I am thankful for and posting it. Yesterday I was thankful for my friends in life. Today I'm thankful for being alive. I survived abuse, maybe through the skin of my teeth. But when I see the people that I've lost in life, the people that had dreams of retiring, that had dreams of seeing their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren grow up, only to have those dreams snatched. I'm grateful for life. We only have one life. Live it to your full. You know, make every second count. Tell your story. Because you just don't know where your story or who your story can help. I hope my story helps others as well. I will leave my Avira link at the top of this video, because if you've got low self-esteem and you don't think you're beautiful, I'm here to tell you every single person is beautiful inside and out. You just have to say it enough times. Wake up every morning, look in the mirror and say, I am beautiful. I love myself unconditionally, unapologetically. And when you say something often enough, it becomes a habit and you believe it. You know, I love getting up and putting my makeup on now. Some days I don't even put makeup on. We've just introduced a tan stick. I've never used a fake tan set in all my life, and I used it today. Well, I used it last week. And all I've got today is, all I did today was my eyes, my brows, my lashes, my I Am a Survivor lashes, to tell my story, and a bit of lippy. I don't even have foundation on. I just have that natural tan stick. Now I know we have sold out of the Curb Appeal tan set. Hopefully it should be back in stock tomorrow or at least Monday, for those who haven't got it. Do I love the tan? Yes, I do. No chemicals, no fake dyes, no smell, no staining clothes or whatever, but it leaves you with a natural glow. But for me, it's more than that. It's building your confidence. If a little bit of lipstick and a little bit of eyeshadow and a little bit of, and a lash can make you feel beautiful inside and out, go for it. And if you've got people in your life that hate you or judge you when they don't even know you, they don't count. Because they foolishly did not take the time to get to know you as a person. My advice is, don't judge me until you've walked my shoes. Don't judge me until you've walked my path. Only when you have walked through the hell that I have walked in my life do you have the right to judge me. Alright? Nobody should judge anyone. We should coexist. We should respect and love each other unconditionally. And we should help each other along life's road. Because heaven knows life's too short. If anything that my parents have taught me, I've lost my parents to cancer, I've lost my cousin to cancer, I've lost my uncles and aunties to cancer, and even my grandparents to cancer. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. They had dreams, they had aspirations, they had visions for the future that were stolen from them because life took them too soon. And one thing they've learned, they've taught me, is live my life to the full. Be me, do me, and love me unconditionally. I do. I look in my mirror every morning and I think, wow, what a strong person I am. And yes, I'm only human. I have my doubts some days. Some days I just feel like I should just throw in the towel. But when you've got wonderful friends such as Tracy and Wendy and Stacey Hibbard and a wonderful man that supports everything that you do, giving in is not an option. Showing up every day as me. I don't want to show up as you. I don't want to show up as Tracy. I don't want to show up as Wendy or any of my friends. I'm showing up as me. I've told my story because so many people judge me without even knowing me. Well, here I am. This is me. This is who I am. Yes, I have my scars. Yes, I've shed more tears than I can care to count. But I'm still me. And I'm proud to be me. And, you know, let my haters hate. Cheers to the haters. They've got a lot to learn in life. And as for those that support me, welcome to my world. Welcome as my friend. And I'm only a phone call away if ever you need me. Because that's what true friendship's all about. Supporting each other, being there for each other. You know, I have friends that have maybe bought one lipstick. I have friends that have maybe bought one eyeshadow. And you might think, well, that's not very much, is it? No, it's not. But you know what? That's huge to me. Because they took time out of their day to buy a lipstick. They took time out of their day to buy a foundation. They took time out of their day to buy something from my store. And then they wrote back and said, I love this product. That's what makes me keep doing what I do. So, if you're watching this on the replay, #replay, let me know where you're watching from. And I hope my story has inspired you to be you. To love yourself unconditionally, in the words of my dear friend Tracy Phelps. Unapologetically. Be you and do you. Because there's only one you. And that one you is beautiful. Inside and out. Shine bright every single day. Shine your light on others. Build others up. Don't destroy them. Don't set out to break somebody's free will or take away their independence. One thing living in abuse taught me was to open that cage, spread my beautiful wings and fly free. And both myself and my partner are proud to be free spirits. We're not bound by man-made laws. I have my own mystic witch business. It might not be a top-selling business, but it's mine. I'm my own person. I'm my own boss. I can decide to show up for work every day, or I can decide to have a day off. I can decide to have 2 days off, 3 days off. How many people can say that? How many people can say that they have survived abuse? Or, been through near-death experiences only to come out the other side? I almost lost my life to abuse. That was a wake-up call. And I'm so glad and thankful that I got out. I am the true survivor. And you can be just as strong as I can. Thank you all for supporting this live today. I'm going to go off and jump and do my card of the day. Thank you to Tracy Fouts for always being there for me. And to Wendy Janine, to Stacey Hebbard, to Lucy Lou, all those wonderful, wonderful women who have loved me for who I am. Thank you so much. To Olga Naden, who has always been there for me as well. Thank you all so very much. I have been blessed with meeting some wonderful, wonderful friends within Avira community. Avira for me is home, and I'm proud to make Avira and all the collaborations under the Avira umbrella part of the Mystic Witch. For me, these products build confidence. These products make the world a better place. These products are second to none. And if you haven't tried them, you're missing out. I certainly won't be missing out. These products I use every single day. And when you've got lashes like I am worthy, I am a survivor, I am beautiful, I am grateful, I am extraordinary. You can put on a set of lashes and you can feel that. I am a survivor. I am worthy. And I can't wait to get the new lashes. I am thankful. So that I can wear those lashes and say, you know what, I'm thankful I can actually wear lashes. Many people, even with good vision, cannot get the grips of putting the lashes on. And yet using a magnified mirror, a steady hand, I can draw my lash line and put my lashes on. I never ever dreamed I would be able to do that. But that's what Avira does. It builds confidence, self-esteem, and it makes you feel $1 million. And I want every woman to feel that special. I want every woman to come and join Avira and see what a wonderful, wonderful community this is. A community of women who lift each other up. Not just women, men as well. We lift each other up. Even on days where we think we can't, you've got somebody saying, yes, you can. Go on and do a live. Come on a Zoom call. Come on a training call. You've got this. And that's why I come on every day now and do my lives. My live readings, my live Avira, all of it. I apologise for this being a long video. But I'm 56 years old. That's a heck of a lot of years in my story. But I needed to share this story because I know there are other women out there like me that may feel there is nobody out there for them. My inbox is always open. My group is open to anyone wanting to join the Mystic Witch Facebook group. Come along to the Mystic Witch public page. Put a like on there. Tell your story. I'd love to hear your story too. Let's build each other up. Don't tear each other down. And that's what Avira is about. It's about empowerment, influencing you to be the best that you can be, to uplift, to empower, to influence, to inspire. What a wonderful world that would be, right? If we could all do that. Why can't we? If I can do it, you can do it. I'm going to jump off and go and do my live readings. Thank you to everyone for all who support me and support the Mystic Witch. You are all amazing. Love you all. Love and bright blessings. Bye for now.